Hello students, welcome to All Force e-learning channel. This is K. Nageshwar Rao, your physics faculty. Today we are about to deal with session number 92, NEET second year. In the previous sessions we have discussed about cells, we have discussed about grouping of cells, we have seen series combination of cells, parallel combination of cells, mixed grouping of cells, isn't it? And today in the today's session we will deal with Kirchhoff laws. These two laws are very important in current electricity chapter. You know, if you are having simple resistors arrangement in the circuit, you can find out potentials very easily. We have already seen combination of resistors, series combination and parallel combination of resistors. Okay, in something 5 sessions before we have already seen. If at all, if the circuit is a bit complicated and if we are supposed to handle the question, if we are supposed to calculate something, sometimes it would be very difficult. So to simplify the situation, to handle the circuit related models very comfortably, these Kirchhoff laws will help us. So let us try to understand what these Kirchhoff laws are. There are two laws. The first law is called as Kirchhoff's first law. Kirchhoff's first law, or it can also be called as junction law. You will come to know why it is called as junction law. You will come to know during the discussion. You will realize, yeah, this is why it is called as junction law. Or it can also be called as current law. Let me give the statement of this law. According to this law, according to Kirchhoff's first law, the algebraic sum of currents meeting at a junction is equal to 0. Very simply, in single sentence, it can be said like this. I'll explain. What do you mean by algebraic sum? I'll explain. Or it can also be stated like this: the sum of currents meeting at a junction or reaching at a junction are equal to sum of currents leaving the junction. Whatever sum of currents, whatever currents are reaching the junction, if you add all those currents will be equal to what? Currents leaving from the junction. So that's what the other statement of Kirchhoff's first law is. Let us try to understand this one. I'll take a junction here. Okay, so this is how the junction is arranged. Let us say along this direction a current I1 is approaching the junction, along this direction a current I2 is approaching the junction, and along this direction a current I3 is leaving, and here along this direction a current I4 is leaving. So according to Kirchhoff's first law, the currents, sum of currents approaching the junction are equal to sum of the currents leaving the junction. I1 plus I2 is equal to I3 plus I4. You can modify this equation in this way: I1 plus I2 minus I3 minus I4 equal to 0, or the same equation can also be written as I1 plus I2 plus minus I3 plus minus I4 equal to 0. And this can be concluded as summation I is equal to 0. Algebraic sum of currents is equal to 0. Here this negative sign indicates, it's a kind of sign convention. The currents approaching the junction are taken as positive. The currents leaving from the junction are taken as negative. When you add all those things algebraically, what you will get? You will get 0. And this is possible because of one very important conservation principle. So whatever amount of charges are entering, they will leave. When they will leave, definitely the currents leaving the junction will be equal to currents approaching the junction. So this, whatever Kirchhoff's first law is there, it is possible because of, so this is possible because of conservation of charge, conservation of charge. So the amount of charge flowing towards the junction is equal to the amount of charge leaving the junction. Okay. So this law is possible because of law of conservation of charge. Now let us talk about Kirchhoff's second law. Kirchhoff's second law. It can also be called as loop law, or it can also be called as voltage law. See, in the previous case, so why you might have already come to know why it is Kirchhoff's first law is it can also be called as junction law, can also be called as current law. It involves currents, so that you can call it as current law. It involves a junction, currents approaching junction, leaving from the junction, so you can also call it as junction law. So here you can understand from this from these names. Here we deal with voltages, we deal with loops. In case of Kirchhoff's second law, we deal with loops, we deal with voltages. According to this Kirchhoff's second law, the algebraic sum of potentials across all circuital elements in a circuit is equal to 0. When I deal with one circuit, you will come to know how come this sigma V equal to 0. So what is the statement? The algebraic sum of potential drops across all the circuital elements. You can take any number of resistors, whatever electronic circuital things are there in the circuit, across all those circuital elements, potential drop will be there. When you add all those potential drops, then how much it will be? It will be 0. The algebraic sum of all potential drops. Okay, let us, if at all if cells are there, let us say current I is flowing, a resistor R is present, what will be the potential across this resistor IR? V is equal to IR, isn't it? Let us say a battery is there with a EMF E, then, or two batteries are there, or several resistors are there. Okay, if that is the situation, the same equation can be written as summation potential drop across all resistors plus summation of all EMFs. So algebraic sum of potential drops across all circuital elements in the sense resistors. So that's what I am talking about here. Even cell is also circuital element only. Let me tell you again, algebraic sum of all potential drops across resistors plus algebraic sum of all EMFs is equal to how much? 0. Okay. So here one sign convention is there, like the way we have one sign convention in case of junction rule, junction law. Here also one sign convention is there. For example, if you are having a resistor like this, let us say resistor is R, let a current I is flowing through this resistor. If you are tracing the circuit along the direction of the current flow, then potential drop across this one will be taken as minus IR. Remember children, if you are tracing the circuit along the direction of current, potential drop across this resistor will be taken as minus IR. The same picture I will draw again. This is the direction in which current is flowing. This is the resistor. Now I am tracing this resistor in the opposite direction to the flow of current. Current is towards right and I am tracing towards left. Okay. So if I am tracing the circuit opposite to current direction, then you can take potential drop across this resistor as plus IR. Plus IR. Along the direction, minus IR. Opposite to the direction, plus IR. Okay, so that's what one sign convention connected with the potentials. What if you are dealing with the cells? Let us say a cell is present like this. Okay, its EMF is E. Its EMF is how much? E. If you are tracing the circuit like this, it means you are traveling from positive electrode of the cell to negative electrode of the cell. This is high potential, this is low potential, isn't it? So you are traveling in a direction along which potential is decreasing, high to low. So in this case, you have to take E as minus E when you are adding. When you are adding all these EMFs, how you have to consider minus E in this case? Sorry, how you have to consider E? You have to consider E as minus E. If you are tracing like this, if you are tracing the cell from positive to negative. And the other way, when you are tracing the circuit from negative to positive, here what is happening? You are traveling from, you are tracing the element from low potential to high potential, like increasing potential direction. So here you will take E as a plus E. So these are the two sign conventions that you should remember to understand the problems connected with Kirchhoff's second law. If you are supposed to apply Kirchhoff's second law to add all potentials across the circuital elements, these are the two important rules that you should follow. Let me reiterate this one. When you are traveling along the direction of the current, potential across resistor will be taken as minus IR. Along the direction, minus. Opposite to the direction of current, plus IR. When you are dealing with the cells, if you are tracing the cell from positive electrode to negative electrode, high potential to low potential, minus C. When you are tracing like this in this direction, tracing, what do you mean by tracing? I'll tell you. I will tell you that also. Remember, if you are traveling from low potential to high potential, EMF will be taken as plus E, because low to high in the sense increasing potential direction. That's how you can understand. So if you don't have clarity about these sign conventions, it's going to tough to apply Kirchhoff's rules, Kirchhoff's second law, especially on the circuits, whatever circuits you see in the questions. Okay, so let us take one circuit here, and I will take few resistors in the I will take two resistors in the circuit and one cell. Let us say one resistor is present here, another resistor here, one cell is connected to these two resistors. R1 is the resistance of this resistor, R2 is resistance of this resistor, and EMF is E. EMF is E. Let us say it is having some internal resistance as well. You can write internal resistance here. Separately you can write internal resistance. This is what internal resistance of the cell. I have represented that separately just beside this one. Now, because of arrangement of a cell in this circuit, let us say a current I is flowing. Okay. Now, A, B, C, D. Okay. Here what is loop? Loop in the sense you can write loop like this. Consider loop A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D is not a loop. Loop in the sense you have to close it. Again you have to come back to A. A, B, C, D, A. In the sense you have considered one loop. If you are writing like this A, B, C, D, A, it means you are tracing the circuit like this. A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A, like this. Like this you are tracing. Like this, you know, in this sense. What sense is this? It's a clockwise sense. In clockwise sense you are tracing the circuit. Now let us try to understand here. Let us try to understand application of this Kirchhoff's second law here in this circuit. Okay, what is Kirchhoff's second law? Sigma V is equal to 0. Okay, so let me start from here like this. Here current is traveling in this direction, and I am also tracing along the same direction, along the direction of current flow. See, this is how I am tracing, isn't it? So if I am tracing like this, it means I am traveling along the direction of current, particularly corresponding to this resistor. If I am traveling along the direction, what you have to take? You have to take potential across that R1 as minus IR1, isn't it? And similarly here also, I am traveling along the direction of current flow. Here also potential across R2 will be written as minus IR2. And here current is in this direction. Along the direction of current only I am tracing. Here also whatever potential drop is there across this one, that will also be taken as minus only, minus I small r, isn't it? And coming to this cell, I am traveling from what? Negative terminal to positive terminal, or low potential to high potential. Low potential to high potential, the EMF should be taken as plus E. So here it is plus E equal to 0. Okay, equal to 0. So that's how you have to apply what Kirchhoff's second law to the loops. Here, like the way in case of junction rule, we have conservation of charge. Junction rule is possible because of conservation of charge. That's what we have concluded, right? Similarly, here also, this Kirchhoff's second law is possible because of conservation of energy principle. Why? See, when I have given you the details of EMF of a cell, it was very clearly mentioned. EMF is what? Energy. It's a driving energy. Okay, what it drives? It drives the charge. Energy supplied by the battery, by the cell, to drive a unit charge around the circuit is nothing but EMF of the cell. So basically, cell, what it does, it supplies energy for maintaining the charge in the circuit, isn't it? So whatever energy is supplied, that energy is gets distributed across this one, across this one, across this one. This resistor is offering some resistance. So to drive the charge, what some potential drop will be there across this one, and here some other potential drop will be there across this one. Here also some other potential drop will be there across this one. So when you add all those potentials, what you will get? You will get the EMF of the cell. You can check it from here itself. See, E is equal to what? I will take all these terms, negative terms towards RH side, they become plus. So in all these terms, I is there. Take it out. So I into R1 plus R2 plus R, isn't it? So finally, EMF of the cell is equal to what? Potential drops across all the circuital elements. Okay, so here you can see conservation of energy principle, and from this equation, if you want to write expression for I, you can write like this: E by R1 plus R2 plus R. Okay, so these are two laws, and remember, Kirchhoff's second law is very important for handling the problems, and these sign conventions are very important. Unless or otherwise you have idea about these sign conventions, you cannot handle the problems. Okay, so let us now solve few problems connected with these laws. Let us have a look at these two problems. These two problems belongs to junction rule. In the first question, what he is asking for, the value of current I in the figure below will be. So here I is given. Okay, so this is a small part of circuit. Four junctions are there, junction A, B, C, D. So what do we know about junction law? Some of the currents entering at a junction are equal to some of the currents leaving from the junction. So here, if 10 amperes of current is approaching the junction, how much amount of current should leave from the junction? 10. But along this direction 6 amperes is leaving. It means in the other direction, along this direction, how many amperes of current should leave? 4. Then only 4 plus 6 will be equal to 10. Okay. So now this 4 amperes of current is approaching this junction B. 1 ampere of current is approaching junction B. If 4 and 1, if they are approaching this junction, how much amount of current should leave from the junction? 4 plus 1, 5 amperes. Now, see, this junction D, concentrate on this one. 2 amperes of current is approaching junction D and 6 amperes of current is approaching junction D. So how much amount of current should leave from the junction? 6 plus 2, 8 amperes. And 5 amperes of current is approaching junction C, 8 amperes of current is approaching C. So how much amount of current should leave from junction C? 8 plus 5, 13 amperes. So the answer is 13 amperes. Now look at this question. Here how many junctions are there? A, B, C. 3 junctions are there. How much amount of current is approaching this junction? 1 ampere, 2 ampere. So how much current should leave? 1 plus 2, 3 amperes of current should leave from the junction, according to junction rule. Now here see, 3 amperes of current is approaching the junction. From this junction 1 ampere of current is leaving. So in this direction how much current should leave? 2 amperes. Then only 2 plus 1 will equal to 3. Now see, 2 amperes of current is approaching junction C, and from this direction 2 amperes of current is approaching junction C. So how much amount of current is approaching junction C? 2 plus 2, 4. So how much current should leave? 4. So the I value is 4 amperes. So in this way you can handle junction law related models. Okay. So let us try one problem connected with Kirchhoff's second law. Now let us solve this question. What is given? The value of current I1 in the given circuit will be. So this is the circuit given. So we have to find out value of this current I1, whatever current is flowing along this branch. How many junctions are there? A, B, C, D. Okay, 4 junctions are there. Now here if you see this circuit carefully, I current is entering junction A, I1 current is leaving. So then what this I2 will be? I2 will be equal to I minus I1, isn't it? So I will replace this I2 with I minus I1. I1 current, out of I1 went along this direction. The remaining current is how much? I minus I1. Okay. Now here I1 current is approaching. From this junction B, I3 current is leaving. So the current leaving along this direction will be I1 minus I3. I1 is entering, some current I3 is leaving the junction along this direction. Remaining current is what? I1 minus I3. That current will travel along this direction. Now look at this junction D. I minus I1 current is approaching. I3 current is also approaching. So here this current will be, the current leaving will be sum of these two currents, isn't it? These are the two currents which are approaching the junction. So the leaving current will be I minus I1 plus I3. Okay. Now if you add these two currents, this one and this one, they are approaching junction C. And how much should be the output? I. Yeah, you can check that. Plus I1 minus I1 gets cancelled. Minus I3 plus I3 gets cancelled. So remaining term is I. That I current leaves the junction. So Kirchhoff's junction law, it's it's valid here. It's true. It's we can realize that in this picture. Now consider loop A B D A. A B D A. I'm going to apply loop law. So if I have written loop as A, B, D, A, what does it mean? I am tracing from A to B, B to D, D to A. So according to loop law, summation V, algebraic sum of all potential drops across resistors will be equal to how much? 0. So potential across this resistor R, how much it will be? I1R, isn't it? I1R. What sign you have to take? Positive sign or negative sign? You are traveling from A to B. You are tracing the circuit A to B, B to D, D to A, like this. Like this you are tracing. Since you are traveling along the direction of the current, the potential will be taken as negative. And here also you are traveling along the direction of the current. So again he will have minus sign here, I3R. But here D to A, you are traveling opposite to the direction of the current. So you will have plus I minus I1 into how much is the resistance? 2R equal to 0. Okay, right. Let me simplify this one. What you will get, minus I1 R is there in every term, so you can take it out, and if you take it to the RHS side, it becomes 0. You'll have minus I1 minus I3 plus 2I minus 2I1 equal to 0. And if you simplify this further, what you will get, minus I3 minus 3I1 is equal to minus 2I, isn't it? Or you can write like this also, simply I3 plus 3I1 is equal to 2I. So let us take it as equation number 1. I am taking this as equation number 1. Now consider loop BCDB. BCDB. Let us trace the circuit in this sense, in clockwise sense. Now, if you are traveling from B to C, you are traveling along the direction of the current. So you will have minus. What is the potential across this resistor? I1 minus I3 into 2R. Current into resistance is what? Potential. Now, B to C, C to D. Here you are traveling opposite to the direction of the current. You will have plus. How much is the current here? I minus I1 plus I3. Minus I1 plus I3 into, how much is the resistance? R. And from D to B, again you are traveling in a direction opposite to the current direction. So you will have plus. How much is the current from D to B in that branch? How much is the current? I3. How much is the resistance offered here? R. Equal to what? 0. So that's how you can write the equation by applying loop law. So let me simplify this. R is there in every term. You can take it out and it becomes 0. It goes to the RHS side. So minus I1, if you multiply minus sign into the bracket, 2 is also there. So minus 2I1 minus into minus plus 2I3 plus I minus I1 plus I3, and finally we are having one more I3 equal to 0. Okay, so just add all these things. Let us have a symmetry, small symmetry here. 2I3 plus I3 plus I3, 4I3 minus 2I1 minus I1 minus 3I1 is equal to plus I will take it towards the RHS side. You will have minus I. Let us take it as equation number 2. Equation number 2. Now here 3I1 is there, and there minus 3I1 is present. So what you can do is you can add these two equations. But what is our final aim? We wanted to find out what I1 is. So let us get rid of this I3. Okay, we can do that. I'll multiply minus sign on both the sides. Minus 4I3 plus 3I1 is equal to I. And here you are having I3, and here minus 4I3 is there. So 1 into 4 plus, let me take this as equation number 2. Okay, small modification is made here. Okay, minus sign is multiplied on both the sides. This is what equation we are getting. Okay, now I am multiplying equation 1 with 4 and I am adding it to equation 2. Okay, if you multiply equation 1 with 4, what you will have? 4I3 plus 4 3s are 12I1, add this one, plus minus 4I3 plus 3I1 is equal to, you have multiplied equation 1 with 4. So RHS part becomes 4 2s are 8I, and here what is RHS part? I plus I. So I have multiplied equation 1 with 4 and it was added to equation 2. Now see, 4I3 minus 4I3 both gets cancelled, and finally what you are left with? 12I1 plus 3I1, 15I1 equal to 9I. Therefore I1 is equal to 9 by 15I, or it can be written as 3 by 5I. So that's how you can make use of these loop law or Kirchhoff rules, Kirchhoff laws, to handle the circuit related problems. In the next session we will continue with few more problems. Thank you, students.